Macca's burgers ever.
Welcome back to the OPL. Jake, you're on the couch. Welcome.
Hello.
How you
Great
doing?
to be here. I'm actually surprisingly good.
You get a haircut?
No, I didn't get a haircut. I have hair again. It's good to have hair again. I told everyone the story of why I shaved my head originally, didn't I?
I believe so.
Stuff you spooks.
Yeah, because Spooks was bald shaming you.
But look, there's hair.
There's hair. It's there. And no one can take that away from you, except for Father Time. Good work in the last two games. That
you.
was a hell of a closeout.
That was actually, so I feel like I had a real mixed bag of games today. I was saying that I feel like I used every trick in the book to try and get through game number one.
Yep.
I was talking about win conditions, items, there was just a whole bunch of nothing happening,
Slow
to be
game.
honest. Very slow game. That's a professional way to say it, Rusty. Thank you. Game number two, however, what a banger closeout.
Real quick.
It's so amazing.
When Chiefs do that to team, you go, that's the team that wins the OPL.
Yeah.
When they do that, when they just pick you up and just shake you for a bit, you're like, no one
With TN, no less,
Yeah.
as well.
They could have been Direwolves, they could have been Order, could have been Gravitas, could have been Mammoth. When they're in that mood, you just don't want to play them. Yeah.
Tan, a lot of confidence in a very small body.
15 push-ups, too.
If he was on a supermarket shelf, that'd be on the packaging.
So shout out to in-house subs. New breed of OPL talent coming up.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of them.
Yep.
Kids are the future.
Totally.
Doss is 25 or something. He's old.
That's true.
He looks younger, but because he's looking after himself. Good job, Doss. But he's the future of the Chiefs top lane.
Yep.
Absolutely he is. And
Yep.
I think they should be pumping resources into him. Doss has probably still got seasons left in him. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying throw Doss out, but his attitude and his work ethic and everything I've seen from behind the scenes seems like a great pickup. He seems like an absolute superstar in the making.
In-house subs are the future. This could be your time to shine. You could
Emergency sub Rusty.
Yeah, you could get out there. How exciting!
We're on the board.
Make a name for yourself. Speaking of making names for ourselves, it's time for more Weekend Roast. I thought the graphic would show up. Apparently, there's no graphic. Just imagine really flat meat. Jake, what's grinding your gears?
Okay. Controversial.
Ooh.
Children's sickness.
Oh my God, we have the same one. Okay.
So Jasper at the moment, hand, foot, and mouth disease. Mm-hmm. So I've already gone over my gripes with the big man upstairs. Didn't give me different coloured eyes. Mm-hmm. Didn't give me a grey hair patch. Also, what the bloody hell is children illness?
Yeah.
Kids underneath 5, I'm going to say, shouldn't be able to get sick. They should be invincible.
It's cruel.
Immortal. It's cruel. They can't express their feelings. They get very, very upset.
They don't understand what's
They
happening.
don't understand what's happening. And it's a guessing game to how you make them better.
Yep.
Jasper sometimes gets sick, loves to drink milk. This time around, is sick, has an upset stomach, give him milk, vomits all over me.
That makes sense.
He can't tell me that. If he was an adult, he'll be like, nah, not milk this time, mate.
Yep.
And here I am shoving a bottle in his mouth. Take it, Jasper, take it. But yeah, Jasper was really sick. And the other thing is that, it's really draining emotionally when your child is sick.
And this is painful.
My biggest gripe is you feel every blow of it. So Jasper was really unwell, and it got to the point where I dragged a mattress, a queen size mattress, very heavy, out to the living room and just threw it on the floor and just I laid down on the mattress on my back and just put Jasper over me, over my heart, and he just laid there for 4 hours, trying to sleep, and I was just like, I'm so done with this. The poor dude can't sleep. I can't sleep because he can't sleep. Stuffs everyone's week up and generally was an upsetting experience, as you can probably tell from my voice. So I think whoever invented humans, stuffed up. Get rid of children's illnesses.
Look, I think everyone could get behind that one. You're stepping all over the toes of my Weekend Roast because it is the human body, and it was so everyone I know who has a kid right now, and that could be some of you in chat. Their kid is sick at the moment. Over the weekend, Banjo's had a gastro thing going on, and it's been sort of bad for about a week. We thought it was over Sunday morning. We were like, he's free of the pox. It's time to celebrate
With milk.
The ritual burnings of incense worked. It's time to go out. We'll go out for breakfast. Let's enjoy this day that we have. We go out for breakfast. We go to our favorite cafe. It's absolutely packed. We sit outside in the middle of everybody there. We're sitting there, order the coffees. He gets a fancy little...
Baby tuna?
No. It's some sort of insane juice that has 13 colors in it. It's turmeric bomb. There you go. We're sitting there, the food's about to arrive. Banjo turns to me, just looks at me and goes, Dada. And I'm like, what's up, baby boy? And he goes, blah. And I go, oh God, reach over, start catching the vomit. So he's going, blah, blah. And this is surrounded by people at the cafe. Vomiting. It's overflowing in my hands. Beck, my partner, grabs the chair and pulls it back. So she's pulling him away. I'm like, I have all this baby vomit in my hands. What do I do with the baby vomit? So I step up and I'm like, thankfully we're outside. I'll just tip it in the garden. I take a step. My foot gets caught on the table. I knock over the whole table. Coffee smash. Watercraft smashes. Everyone's turning and looking at us. Banjo's standing in the garden going, blah, blah. I'm like, God. And there's coffee everywhere. So then finally we pick everything up. 6 waiters come and help and clean everything up. We cancel the food. I pay for the coffees. It's like, okay, we got to go. When a kid gets sick, a lot of the time, if they're not like feeling lethargic the whole time, they're like, I feel better now. Everything's good. Yeah. So I'm trying to carry him. And he goes, no. Banjo, walk. Okay, cool. Let's put you down. I pick up the bags. I start moving. Beck's over there. Banjo takes 2 steps running, trips over his own feet, face plants into the cement, still surrounded by people, smashes his face in the ground, looks up, blood pouring out of his mouth. He's like, I'm like, no, baby boy. Get my vomit hands, grab him, pick him up. I'm hugging him. And I'm like, it's okay. And he's bleeding over. He's like, oh God. It's like, we just got to get to the car. Stand up. It's like, okay. Beck picks up the bag. She takes the bag. I turn around, take 3 steps, and I just hear her go, Dada. And like an idiot, I go, what? And he goes, blah, and vomits, blood and vomit in my face. I'm like, it's going in my mouth, all over my clothes. It's pouring down. I'm soaked. He's soaked. Like, there's like 60 people at this cafe just stare and go, I can't believe what's happening. And then there's vomit all over the ground that we need to clean up. We've dropped the bags. I dropped the coffee. The turmeric bombs exploded on the ground. And then everyone is trying to enjoy their meal while baby vomits everywhere. And Benji's just going, and I'm like, get in the car. And Beck's like, get the bags. I'm like, screw the bags. And then leave them behind. We don't need them. We'll buy new shit. It was just a total effing disaster. The human body is a atrocious thing, and we should return it and get a new one. That is my weekend roast. It was the first time as a parent where I've had that public, this is a meltdown disaster.
So
I'm between 2 parents, aren't I?
So the public thing I've never had, but this was the first time. Jenna is as all mums are. All mums are great. In my opinion, Jenna's a great mom.
Yeah.
This was the first time where we finally got Jasper to sleep, then he cried, and she just pushed me.
Yeah.
It was like, this is your
it's
turn.
on you now.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, you know what? You've done it for 3.5 days. I get it.
It's time to pick up that slack.
Yeah.
You say you're between 2 parents. I would say even Banjo would put the maxi bonds away in the freezer if they came at the house. So you're in the same boat, mate. You're a parent as well. You're just a parent to some teenagers. Welcome back to League of Legends. We got game number 3 coming up. Before we do, none of us got first blood again. Ayla took first blood. I picked the wrong support. So we'll see how we go into game number 3, which is AV versus Bombers. And Bryce, it is
a banger.
Thank you very much. AV, we saw a little video there the last time we met. That's a fancy little package you put together.
Giles.
Yeah, well done by Giles.
And how are you feeling heading into the Bombers match?
I mean, you saw in that video as well, our record against Bombers isn't very good, but it's not the same Bombers, of course, as it was in last split, and it's also a different roster for us this time. Yep. It's the first time our full roster plays Bombers, so I'm a lot more hopeful this time around. I do think that we can take it to them and try and keep our place on top of the standings.
Yeah, and I think that the Bombers have kind of shown 2 different forms of Bombers. They've shown kind of the really poor bottom lane Bombers and, have been blown up through that avenue a couple of times. Avant have had a very explosive bottom lane. Gunkrab and Aladoric really like to get in your face. They're one of the most aggressive bottom lanes in the OPL. And I would say that if the Bombers can weather that and play the slow measured macro game, then they'll be all right. But if they get blown up bottom lane, this game could be real quick because Avant are the best team at translating a lead, in my opinion, in the league. So I think that this is one of those games that is going to be real fast and dirty and Avant favoured, or real slow, measured, split push like macro, and it should be Bombers favoured if that's the case.
So who are we tipping for first blood?
Ooh, first blood, Tommy.
Oof, I'll go Gunkrab.
I'm going to go Chippies just because he needs to be called
It's
out
a
more.
mimic.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, maybe they could roll a 5-stack into the jungle and
Poppy matchup incoming.
Yeah, pop him.
at the desk.
Wilder.
Yeah? I'm
Yeah.
going to hard commit on support. I'm going to go Aladoric.
All right, our first
Spread.
5 different champs. That is exciting. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get into game number 2 with the Max Champ Slate and the boys at the desk.
Have we actually gotten a single one right yet?
No. No.
That seems
It's-
statistically terrible.
Well, I mean, we have. Well, the problem is you're doubling up first of all,
Right.
So like that ruins our chances because we should have 5
Doesn't
of us.
ruin our chances,
no.
Bryce. It drops
Five-
it by 20%.
Yeah, no. But like 5 of us,
Yeah.
10 players per game.
Okay.
So like we should have
So
like it should be like a
statistically-
50-50. Yeah.
We're doing real bad.
Yeah. It's just luck.
So how many press-ups are we up
Yeah.
to?
If
If it's been, what, 2 games? 50 push-ups?
is it 50? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we haven't got any.
Okay, are we splitting those evenly, or
I believe we're a collective.
we're a collective?
We're a collective.
Okay.
And
And we're
Nick's-
doing all of them at the same time. That's the other thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, because then you can
we're
get
just-
creative with the press-ups. I heard yes.
Yeah, we're just
Right.
being told.
So you know the
things, I
press-ups
guess.
you can do, and you high-five the person in front of you?
Oh, like are you trying to put like one-handed push-ups onto our plate right now? Is this what's
Yeah.
happening? Okay, sure. Are you a machine? Are you an absolute machine? Are you just gonna be smacking them out? You're just gonna be like knocking out like, yeah, we got 100 today. Like, yeah, I'll do that. You guys can do nothing.
No, I would say I'm much more like bottom half focused.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
like yeah. But because I used to do martial arts, right, and
Oh,
Taekwondo
okay.
is
You
more
can
about
kick.
kicks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jake will attest to this, but he's just left the room.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I can kick a ball. I played
Yeah.
soccer my entire life.
okay.
I also played cricket.
Yeah, and
so I can
press
throw
ups
a
are
ball.
basically just like kicking the ground slowly.
Yeah, and I was going to transition, but I just had nothing. There was just nothing left. I feel like it's also like it's a good cause, you know, for Headspace. We've partnered with
Yeah,
them
100%.
many times, so definitely back it. I don't know how all 5 of us are going to fit in the camera shot. That's going to be.
Oh, we.
Like, I reckon we could do some like we could make like a star out of it. You know those really wholesome like 12-year-old like Tumblr posts of
Yeah.
all the like colorful shoes making like a little star. We could do that of us doing push-ups.
So would we be faced inwards?
I
or
think so.
outwards?
Well, I
Because
mean,
that's obviously very different.
yeah, it's surely inwards. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just like because we're not going to fit in the camera shot if we do outwards. So it's just
Right.
everybody's legs just like.
Yeah, I don't think
This
that's
got
too
really
bad
weird.
either
I don't
because it's
know what's
a
happened.
number of 5. You're not directly facing someone, so it's not
Yeah,
like
it's
that
not-
weird eye contact thing. You know when you're
Yeah.
at like the urinals and you're just like look forward or down. There is no looking left or right.
Yeah.
It's the same with doing press ups in the start. All right, let's get into our game of Avant Gaming and Bombers.
Yes.
4-4 currently Bombers.
Mm-hmm. AV sitting at the top of the table still now that Chiefs have won and Mammoth have won. They desperately need to get a victory here
Yeah.
to keep that 3-way tie going. Of course, the head-to-head hasn't been broken by any one of the individual teams, so it is still a tie at this stage. And the couch kind of hit on how I wanted to set up this game, right? When they played, these were 2 very different teams. This was AV with a bunch of subs. The man on your screen right now, Shock, was playing Casio in the bottom side. Miru, I think, had a very good Yasuo game and then played the Silas versus Bombers, if you remember back to that first week. And versus Ryoma, it really was the first game that he got punished for being off-roll. And you expect that, right? Going up against other OPL caliber mid laners, a jungler to kind of get bodied somewhat, but this was really like the first time that he did get punished. But now this is the bottom lane completely reintroduced. Bombers, I feel like, are also in a little bit of a different position, right? They came in and we're like, what does this new import look like? They had Volkan, he goes to Turkey, Wilder comes in. What do they now look like? And he looks good. Luch was struggling, but now that they've had some games under their belt, Rogue and Luch really are kind of meshing much better than they were at the start of the split, and it is setting up to be an actual ripper match.
Yeah, and you're very much not focusing on the solo lanes there, which are obviously like the shining stars there for Bombers, right? Ryoma, Mimic have had some just by themselves standout moments that you can just think back to. Mimic the 1v3, Ryoma every Akali game that he plays.
Aatrox?
So yeah, it makes sense that Avant would ban out the Akali, ban out the Sejuani, ban out the Irelia here.
Yeah, 100%, because like you look at the top lane matchup, even in isolation, these are 2 MVPs of the OPL in the last 2 years, right? Mimic and Chippies, both holding on to one of those titles each, so it's certainly, especially in like a Jace lane that AV have locked in for first pick, it is flexible, but if that goes the way of Chippies, could be a volatile one up there.
Yeah, also had Silas, Camille, and Karma coming out from the Bombers. And it will be first pick of the Nico and Lux out from Bomber side as well. Jace first pick. Saw that banned last game. And Tam Kench coming through from Avant Gaming.
Yeah, okay, so interesting. Of course, Karma hits the deck, is changed on this patch, lost a little bit of that movement speed that she gained, but it did put her over the line, so she gets banned away. But Lux Nautilus is a common bottom side of the map that we've seen already today. Lux Tam Kench has yet to play a part. This is actually a bit of a throwback lane in the Varus and the Tahm Kench. Is flexible if you want to go with a Jace comp into something like the Lux and Nico. They're already squishy, and he could go for lethality. He could go for the Sniper Varus build with the Tahm Kench. It's also just a very strong pressure point to play around. You kind of look at Tahm Kench lane stylistically and be like, how do you play around that guy? Like, he's not an Alistar, he's not a Galio, but Gunkrab on this Varus, assuming he pilots this one. Flash Ultimate is a very reliable, very easy to execute tool to set things up, so AV certainly keeping their options open this game.
Yeah, Gnar coming through here from Bombers. Most likely going to go top lane here for Mimic. Doesn't really know what the top lane is going to be. I mean, Jace can obviously flex between the two.
I feel like he kind of does, right? And the players have better information than us. I say us, excluding Jake and Zach, because they also have insider information, but like these guys know each other best. So picking a Gnar in this sort of situation and then banning away the mid laners tells me that they know this is going into the hands of Chippies. They don't expect Shock to be piloting this one in this game. It is AV, so there's always the case that things can happen. It can kind of go everywhere, and Shock is kind of a master of many champions, so wouldn't be the most surprising, but definitely expected to be Jace in the top lane.
Yeah, including a Zillion, which I feel like just supports your point there. Banning away that mid lane up there for Avant. Olaf will follow. Zed ban, along with Yasuo towards Bombers.
So maybe looking to go for a much more sit-back, control-y sort of mage archetype with a Zed ban. You don't want any assassins like the Yasuo, like the Zed, to attack you. As I kind of set everything up for this Jace on the top side, they do ban away Olaf, which is like the Zillion, the Shock specialty. Olaf is always there for Chippies as like a pocket pick. He is that guy. Miro has had some incredibly good games out of this split though, so certainly is flexible anyway.
Another Corki coming in here today. Yeah, we'll see that goes probably mid lane in this one, but we'll see. And looking for a jungler as well. See if he goes towards the Kindred.
Yeah. Were they going for Ranger comp? Looks like the answer may be no. Both of these champions in the Kindred and the Lee Sin offer some sort of disengage. And Kindred's is in the style of like, I will just keep people alive. I can't get people off, but you plop the Land's Respite on the ground and then nobody dies inside. And AV now opting in for the Lee Sin. They want more tools, they want more buttons to keep Bombers at bay. Because if you take a look at these champions, Corki, Jace, Varus, they have exceedingly long range. Auto is playing what they call spear comps at the start of this split. And this is definitely looking like something in that wheelhouse for AV.
Yeah, Bombers will look towards Azir as their final pick, moving that to the mid lane. And it was Lee Sin in the end from Miro. So a lot of engage and disengage, I feel like, as the game moves on. There's a lot of targets you want to just get out of your team, such as the Gnar and such as the Jarvan.
Yes. And the weirdest thing is now this Nico, right? It's not an 80 carry locked in on the bottom side. Luch, ex-mid laner. Of course, we did see upon Nico's release. I believe, was it press the attack? Yes, it was. Everybody was playing press the attack, Nico
hit,
top. And then also in the 80 carry position, she was serviceable. So do we see anyone going back to that sort of style? I expect not. This will likely be the Nico we have seen recently with the Spooky Ghost anyway, and they're just kind of looking at what AV have pieced together, and their last couple of picks in like the Azir, the Nico, they're like, we cannot pick short range.
Yeah.
Like if we just give them that range advantage, then this is a very difficult game to play, so Bombers kind of covering their weaknesses, having to adapt on the fly a little bit to what AV are throwing at them.
Yep. We'll see how this one works out as the game goes on. And yeah, Jace, bit of a playmaking pick going into the top lane here, playing into the Gnar. Of course, Gnar was picked into the Jace here from Bombers.
Yeah, and spicy matchup, I think, given what we talked about, the pedigree of these two top laners. I like that we didn't get the Poppy that the couch was talking about.
Yeah. Not going to happen. And yeah, for our coach, Soul Strikes, a weekly check-in of Soul Strikes. How's it going?
Hopefully nothing happens at level 1. It
Is that always the case when you're in the interview? Something happens?
Yeah, I think something happens
true,
every time.
And I think it's like 3 for 3, so all right, we'll see if that happens.
But there shouldn't be. Nothing should happen this game.
Yeah, okay. My first question for you, Lucio, is did you guys get ramen?
No, not yet.
Next week.
Because I feel like every time I interview, I was about to say every time I interview Lucio, like it's with you, but you cast every game, of course.
So
but
yes.
I don't even need to say anything. You guys just palling out, just hanging out, you know?
Yeah, just chilling, man.
Just chilling.
Yeah, we actually had 2 weeks in which we could have done it.
I
and we
could do
didn't.
tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm casting for the rest of the day, so I don't really have the ability to.
will
Unless we
see.
put like a cardboard cutout of me, and then someone just voices me over.
You can just
think we
phone
can
call.
rock that?
Anyway, enough about the ramen chat. This game of League of Legends is pretty interesting. Both of these comps, especially you guys with the Nico and the bottom side, but this is like a very long-range game of League of Legends. Jace, Corki, Varus, Azir, Nico, Lux. Like, was this expected for 9-13 coming into this, given that we have had the Rift Rivals break?
Well, considering like there's been a few rise of like Varus, poke Varus, but yeah, they just picked like a lot of long range, so we needed like a hard engage, and we do have like a good form of engage with like Na and Jarvan and like Nico Twin Shadow. So we do have this time we have tools to get onto them.
Yeah, okay. And is that the sort of the game plan that you guys are going for? This time you think that you need to be making things happen? It's much more about them setting up their comp and you guys punishing?
I also think Azir can carry well in the late game. So as long as like we don't have like we don't get poked really hard in the early game, like before the fight, I think we should be fine.
Now, how's the team feeling just in general after a big break? You know, I feel like that affects different teams in different ways. Like some people like a break, some people just want to keep on grinding.
Yeah, like every other coach has said, like the break's really nice, and it gives us time to reflect and how we did. And we're currently like 50% win rate, so we have a lot to. We do well in scrims, I believe, and we have a lot to show. And I think we still are growing as a team because we still have like 2 new members, and I think things will go up from here.
Yeah, better as the split progresses. I want to kind of hone in a little bit more on that break. Like, what does it look like, right? Because the OPL season is very regimented. It's like 2 teams a week. You have basically 5 days to prepare for them. Does that extra week kind of injected in the middle of the season change setup for this weekend of games specifically, where you kind of have like a week and a half to look at your 2 opponents?
Yeah, and it's a new patch as well. So we have a lot of time to like first week we experiment like new stuff. And by the time like this week came around, we pretty much finalized what we're going to be playing against Mammoth and AV.
Yep.
So I'm very confident in like what we're showing today.
All right, well, thank you very much, Soul Strikes, and I feel like we broke the curse. There was no level 1 fight with you, so you get to actually talk. And yeah, we'll pick a date for our ramen date, and yeah, I'll get back to you. So thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck in the game.
All right, see you soon.
See you soon. The words of man getting dinner.
It's what you
time.
like to hear,
Yeah.
you know?
So homely.
So
So
homely.
homely.
And that's what the OPL broadcast is, right?
Yeah,
It's like
at times.
coming home.
Yeah. I like that. Just, you know, yeah, people talk about, and I mean, like, Kobe's been all over Twitter recently, like, caster from NA, and it's like, he's the caster that just feels like you're watching League of Legends with a mate on the couch.
Yep.
We took that literally. You know, and we're just like, we need a couch.
It's
on
your
the
group of
OPL.
friends that you go out with, you go to the bar, you watch a game, you knock a
It-
few cold ones back, and
It's like, this
yeah,
is what
it's
we
the
need.
OPL.
We need a couch. We need some
Which we
fellas.
literally have.
And we need some League of Legends.
Yeah.
But yeah, League of Legends is happening on your screens.
It is, bit of a quiet early game here.
Yes, and I guess Lucio kind of hinted at it. Soulstrike saying that, like, yeah, he didn't really expect anything to happen in that interview, which means the lanes need a little bit of time, right? Like the Azir Corki matchup is one of old. Bottom side, it's not the Alastars, it's not the big engage supports coming through. So everybody just kind of sitting up, playing back, and playing towards their win conditions. I feel like Chippies, when you look at a champion like a Jace, in the OPL, I think actually has a very rough history overall, right? Like, he's probably one of the most successful Jaces in the league and has been for years, but he's a champion that can fall behind incredibly quickly as you sort of set this up, and I want to kind of point towards AV's comp holistically. It's very similar to like a Kate Lux sort of game. They have very heavy momentum, and Soulstrike's talked about exactly that. If they don't get poked too hard early, then they have some sense of recourse. But if AV can set things up, if they can isolate the top matchup for Chippies, if they can get tempo leads and move around the map first, it's very difficult for Bombers to kind of make things happen underneath their own turret.
Yeah, that being said, the Lee Sin has not really found access into any of these lanes so far. Has gone for his first back double longsword, has not really touched top lane, and you know, not in a isolated matchup 1v1 with 0 outside pressure, we'll do fine into the Jace. You know, you really need that Lee Sin to get in there and actually just make something happen. But yeah, if you're just auto attack trading, the Null will do pretty well, and if you commit, then again the Null will just chase you down with Hyper.
Quick little move speed. Both junglers here. Miru just showed. So
Wild is still going for it. Yeah, it doesn't hit the Sonic Wave there, so looks like it'll be a bit of a gentleman's agreement, and we'll just back on out.
Which I am surprised about. Like, EQ combo, yes, costs mana, but you're just a jungler. There's kind of that saying of old, like, you don't trade with a jungler, because he always just slinks back to his camps and is fine. Given the Sonic Wave came out of the Lee Sin, there was an opportunity for Wilder to just EQ onto the Corki. He would have had to Valkyrie away. No TP, so can't afford to be, like, tanking anything and then using his health bar as a resource there. So, a little bit surprising. They'd called down Mimic, so they would have had the numbers mismatch eventually, but as you mentioned, gentleman's agreement, everybody just happy to play their lanes out. No jungle intervention.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not as bad nowadays for Corki, but it used to be like Valkyrie would take a third of your mana.
Yeah.
You would just be like, if you could just touch Corki, then he just loses all laning pressure.
Yeah, because it's also like timing based, right? Like he's gone back and he's got a mana item-ish, right? He has a Sheen, but if it's like pre-first base, before like the rise of TP mid Corki, if you Valkyrie, it's just like, all right, there goes everything.
There goes everything, yeah.
It's just
I
like,
can't trade now.
I don't have a lane. And it's kind of funny, like that a matchup can come down to that. It's really, it's really sad.
Trading in the bottom lane, yeah. Everyone holding their breath for a second to see if the skull shots land, but not going to be the case. Yeah, double AP lane, just going to be chucking out spells in the early game, put up a bit of a lead here. About 2 waves all in all to Luch.
Yeah, they've been using all of their mana bars. You can see Luch and Rogue sitting on absolutely nothing right now on the champions, because the turret is still sitting at just about 90% HP down there. Aladoric, very timely, is at a point in the clock where he can use his spellbook, so this is actually just a double TP matchup here. Gunkrab, Aladoric, and a TP back to lane, so that extra sort of wave that potentially another bottom lane would have had to play with there, and maybe would have lost a couple of plates for those trades, is able to get back without losing much. This is becoming problematic in the mid lane. Shock is getting very chunked.
That was just after his teleport back to lane as well, so if he wants to teleport again, he'll have to just walk it back. And yeah, Azir should pick up a pretty healthy lead here. I believe it's in the wafting in at the moment, yeah. So it will be about a 2-way advantage to the Azir. If you want to pick now to also back, you'd have the TP advantage.
Yeah, and it's just off straight up good laning, because it's not even blue buff advantage, right? Like the advantage is in the hands of the Corki. Yes, he has the package, so maybe we say 2 waves, more likely more like 1, given that he falls down, but Ryoma hasn't even picked up the blue buff of his own yet. Wilder, as we just saw, was ganking topside, fishing for something. Mimic wanted the rip back with the claws of the Mega Gnar, but wasn't willing to commit the flash. He knows Chippy's a very strong player, able to just go for the flash trade. It's not really what you're looking for, so every gank this game has sort of subsided. Dragon's going to be taken here, just an air, but it is pre-10 minutes, so no Shelly response on the other side from Wilder.
And you can see top lane, Mimic is just really not a care in the world, you know, has just picked up the call. He's like, I'll see you in 100 farm.
Yep.
I'll pick up the extra 300 gold. No worries.
I wonder what sort of build he goes towards, right? Because you can see lots of different things on Gnar. You can go towards like the heavy side lane, eventually build a Bork, something like that to deal with maybe a Jace. You can also be like if you're looking at Mimic's current build and you're like, yeah, he literally doesn't care. It's like, he could just go full tank team fight, like swipe a Gnar.
Yeah,
yeah, has these options open, so we'll have to track that one as we kind of head past the 20-30 minute mark.
I always feel like it just has to be just full tank right here, right? Unless he thinks that he's going to have to duel someone in the side lane for the entire game, which is possible, right?
Yeah. It kind of depends on like
unkillable.
Yeah, like who gets killed, right? Like maybe he wants like at the end of the road to just go like tank team fight, but if Chippies gets unlocked a little bit more than he currently is, then kind of has to almost, like the analogy is like buy Doran's plays. He has to go like the Doran's build where he just needs power to survive in his own matchup, so he can be useful to the team.
Just a bit of roaming there. Support and jungle just going for a deep invade. Triple control wards actually in the bottom side here for AV. So very much setting up. Shelly's going to be spawning very shortly, and Mimic's also coming down to say hello to Chippies. He's going to jump the wall here. Yeah, it's going to be a blast cone, so Chippy's just very quickly disengages from that.
Yeah, just being cheeky. He knows his jungler's up there, and of course Chippy's wanted to get back to that wave. This is a dive opportunity. Unsure if Miro just spotted Mimic. Don't think so.
No, definitely not. Wow, catches him on that.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm Miru, I'm feeling a little hard done by.
The casual 600 range knock up. Yeah, we'll call that one We'll call that one a hit.
I think it's because he caught him in the dash animation, but still
Yeah.
completed, and then he got knocked up at the end. But yeah, that still feels very bad.
It's a bit weird. But both of these teams just kind of trading sides of the map. You were talking about before they looked for that dive. AV have walked in twice to Bomber's blue side of the map, or blue jungle, and now they do have that triangle. They've got an extra one down in the lane. They have so much threat down there. Given Mimic has that priority, he walks in top side and opens up this opportunity for Wilder, but Miru's gone for a reset, has his full skirmishes, so could look for something.
Yeah, it was only really the chance of a drive-by, it looked like there from Miru. And I think if he had any wards up, he probably would have looked for it, but there was no real out there.
Yeah,
the
I
Chippy
think
thing a little too far away.
given like a little bit more time, right? Because they have a Tahm Kench. Luch doesn't have TP, so there was no bottom lane really interacting there for Bombers. If they like make that play happen, if they forced the fight, AV would have won the numbers game, but not able to. Mimic baiting in Chippies.
Baited right into that hook line and sinker. That's going to be a cataclysm for a kill. First blood over to Wilder.
Oh. Falls incredibly low, but the Korean duo once again here for the Bombers, making it happen. Rift Herald in his back pocket. Didn't die barely, so that's going to be a bunch of plates. Chippy's also no TP, so given the map state, that may just be straight up turret 100 to 0.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be able to save this tower. And Shelly will most likely get a soft charge onto the second tower, but still, 12-minute tower is going to feel very nice for this top lane.
Yeah, also, I actually forgot. Production has told me. I picked Wilder. That's a victory.
Oh.
We're on the board. We've bloody made it.
That's 1 out of 15.
Yeah. God, we're sick. Nice. This is a great game already.
It is. Starting off
Happy.
well. +1 for the casters.
Yeah. Does it get another charge?
+14 for
No.
the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are bad odds. Just don't bring them. It's fine. We're just it's all for
Period
one
building
victory.
for the caster team. Bottom lane is actually doing a lot of work themselves, though, looking at AV. Only 2 plates remaining.
Yeah, that was the response, right? Rich Herald goes top, Wilder sticks around, and Miru's like, I can't get there to defend my top lane turret, so I have to make something happen. Luch, no TP, as his rogue on the Lux, so they just kind of had to sit back, watch their turret die a bunch, and of course, without Shelly, they weren't able to take it down, but they had to get something for their troubles. Bombers now, they've got a sapling of a gold lead. They're working on a tree, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, we're actually starting to hit power spikes, though, across the board. You know, Luden's mid lane, Ghostblade in the bottom.
Yeah, both these 80 carries, I say in quotation marks, have fairly cheap builds, right? The GLP, the lethality items there for the Varus, of course. With the Comet, you did expect that build to come out, but
What do you think is like the standardized name for that role now, right? Because like it was AD carry and then it moved to Marksman. That was like the rebranding.
Did
but now we're
anybody
just
say
No one
Marksman?
said Marksman.
Like-
but now that we're having like literally just mages in the bottom lane.
I still just say 80 carry. Right?
Yeah,
like-
I know, because
like,
it's just drilled onto a language
you
of
just-
people who were like around season 1. Like we
Yeah.
just don't change our lingo. Right?
Everybody knows what you mean. I always hedge. I'm like, oh, in quotation marks, but like, I don't even know why I do that. Like,
Yeah, 'cause no one
it
can see.
means literally nothing. But
Wilder's looking for it.
Colonel,
Yeah, this is a really
Big
good
jump.
defense and a lot of damage from Shock as well. Here from AV.
it's dead.
Yeah, flag drag over the wall, but now he's kind of caught out. Good defense here from
Oh.
Mimic, but he is very low and no rage.
Luch hit him with a hard bait there. Nico Clone running into the back line. Gave Shock a bit of a fright, but
Immediately packages.
yeah, zooms in the other direction. But AV able to secure themselves the second dragon without having to expend really anything. You saw the initial poke landed. A Jace EQ, a Varus Q comes out, and Corki, as Jake was talking about earlier, just flings rocket after rocket. So if Bombers can't close that distance before the damage sticks, it's very difficult for them to get in to find their fight. And as such, AV just take down the dragon, add it to the belt. That one was for free.
Yeah, it's nice for sure, but I feel like we're pulling into destination scaling here for
Yes.
Bombers. I mean, that Nars just literally farmed the entire game. Mid lane, same. And Nico maybe under
Plan.
a bit of duress here.
TPs are coming.
It's a piercing shot, but
Double.
Bombers, everybody arrives to the party, into the
Oh.
shuffle. Gunncrab saved temporarily by Aladoric, but here comes the rest of the Bombers chasing through.
Watch
Luch,
Mimic.
big ultimate comes through, knocks down Gunncrab, Chippy's in from the top lane, evening up the odds perhaps. Rogue flashes away, Mimic with the retreat here. Already used Gnarls, but here comes Wilder, flag drag, flash as well. Miru survives it, but does not survive the Cataclysm. In comes Mimic, the follow through, locked into the pit. Shock will also fall. 4 kills here for 2 in favor of Bombers.
And as you say, Operation Scaling incredibly online right now. 4 kills off the back of some very good TP play here for Bombers. They want a turret as well, sticking around. 3 members still on the map and going to explode this gold lead. It was about 1,000 up to 3 and only going to get greater as the structures start to die.
Yeah, this is a hell of a swing here for Bombers. It's going to be 3,000 gold advantage before tower. And where did the gold go? Onto the carry of Luch, into the jungle, into the top lane. Bombers in a very nice position. It's just started off with this double TP.
Yeah, Ryoma, he holds the Emperor's Divide, knowing they will flash his dash, though. Incredibly huge play. I was expecting a big Gnar ultimate, but ultimately the AV lineup do end up dispersing. Chippies looking for more. Miru kind of baits himself in, but that was all 4 versus 5. Wilder hadn't even made it to the play. As soon as he lands, Slow comes out from Mimic, locks Shock in the cage, and that team fight was all but lost. At what point are AV afraid of Bombers Azir? Because now this is multiple games this season where Ryoma has made things happen. That is...
Oh, wow. I mean, I thought it was going to be laser, but it was a little tap at the end.
It's a cheeky passive proc, you know, the 3rd hit.
Yep.
Gives it a whack over the wall. We're a big fan of very long range abilities this game. It was
We
a
are.
Jarvan EQ hitting people over the wall, that auto attack. Definitely stretched, but of course it was same interaction, right? Safeguard, like he hasn't quite landed yet.
Yeah.
Onto Miru both of these times.
It's a bad day to be a Lee Sin, unfortunately. Yeah, 2 deaths on that one. But yeah, Bombers just in such a good position right now. And you're right, yeah, you do look towards Ryan, but I've also get to a point where I just have to feel that Ryan was a player, right? Like they still put bans towards him in draft. They look towards the Akali, and it's just like, all right, do we just like quintuple ban him now? Like,
yeah,
then, you know.
it's sort of like a misnomer, right? Like coming into this, they have a good matchup. Like corking into Azir, that's been picked before. People do that 100%. They just weren't able to make things happen early enough. Like he wants the Triforce, he wants the Sorks, but kind of every time he had an opportunity, was dissuaded somewhat. You saw things. Ooh, hold that.
Gunkrab getting caught out, no flash, and Aladoric unable to step up, and he's in 2 mines, and this hesitation just gets him killed.
A little bit of happy feet there, sitting in between the 2. He knew Mimic was coming from the flank. He knew he would have killed himself if he looked for that save, but the instincts kick in. He goes for it anyway. The entire bottom lane of AV does fall down, as now we talked about the poke comp from AV. If they set up underneath the turret, well, Bombers are doing exactly that. Long range Azir, long range Lux, and a 5 versus 3, so...
That was a really good shot blast there. Yeah. That will at least send Leech packing. Laser, big across 2. Yeah, Bombers, as you said, just kind of doing what AV want to do. I mean, we're still in the mid game where Jace is doing a lot of damage. Ryoma looked for it, doesn't quite connect the divide, and he would get blown up. What was that damage?
Yeah, that was the Q coming out of Gunkrab. Just snipes him at the back end. He's got the double Dirk build right now.
Yeah, I think a rocket hit him at the same time, and he just popped.
Everything connects. Rogue barely steps out of that one. Mimic has to be called over once again. Gunkrab is slowed, no flash, but Bomber's not going to commit.
Yeah, it feels like by virtue of the composition here, AV are just able to stall, right? Like you just have a mid lane who's hit a power spike. You've got bottom lane Varus who just does a lot of damage early with the fallacy. Same story in top lane. So just by having this, they're able to repel Bombers, but it's kind of like a stopgap, it feels like. As AV, that's less of a stopgap. Double Infernals now is a big deal.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, Bombers maintain the lead. It's a 3,000 gold lead, but their comp does come online much later. So taking stock of the game as it currently stands, like, item spikes are being hit by AV. Yes, they just lost a big team fight. They don't want team fights. They were looking for a numbers mismatch. They get the gank and then got punished by double TP. I kind of want to speak about something very nuanced, but these compositions you can look at in a vacuum, like the poke comps I'm talking about, where it's like, wow, it's so easy. You just set up underneath a turret and fling your abilities. AV have already demonstrated that they know how to play it because things are coming out at the right time. Bad teams play poke comps and just throw everything staggered. First, it's the Corki Rocket. Then it's the Shock Blast. Then the Varus Q comes out, the arrow, and everything doesn't land at the same time. But that kill that you mentioned, you're like, where did that damage come from? When everything connects at the same time, it really does speak to cohesion here from AV. And yes, they are in a bit of a gold deficit, but Double Infernal certainly makes up for it somewhat. And item spikes are definitely coming online.
Spooky's come through. And good old Glacial. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting, at least from me as a viewer, right, to watch this, because AV obviously top of the board right here, now forced into a position where they're behind and are very much on a timer, right? So like, what can AV to really do to force open the game and get themselves back into it and actually not only regain the lead, but then finish out the game from there, right? Like it feels like there's just another step added onto the multi-step process.
Yeah, right, because you look at an optimal situation is our side laners are reasonably ahead. And it's not necessarily ahead of like, I've stomped my lane randomly, I outplayed them, but my items are cheaper, I've come online earlier, and then we have side lane pressure to play with. That really isn't the case this time. Mimic is something to be reckoned with. His Pell has popped now, and he's, despite a more expensive build, actually further along the track than Chip is. So they kind of are going to get to this situation where they have to sack side lanes to force, because AV don't have buttons to start a fight. That's not what they want to do, but they will eventually just have to commit to a lane. It's likely going to be something around mid, but they have to set up, and the side lanes won't be pushing for them, and they will have to sacrifice that farm. And it's just about, can they land their skill shots? Can they get the poke down before Bombers set up? Because, as you see right now, they maintain complete control around the Baron. Mid lane priority in their hands. Aladoric wants a piece of Wilder.
Yeah,
but
he's... I couldn't tell if he was the hunter or the hunter there, to be honest.
I agree, yeah. I was like, is he caught? Is he a genius?
I can't tell what's happening, because Luch was closing in, but turns out it's pretty much just a null bet right
Maybe
there.
nobody knew. Hey, maybe
Yeah.
nobody knew. Everyone's just like, I'll throw my buttons.
I mean, that's the thing I think in pro play, where you can just do something crazy and the opponent just needs to think, like, how much respect do I give this person, right?
Yeah, like... Because a lot of it is lack of information. And when people... Oh, okay, Cleanse comes out. When people do things that you don't expect, it's like, oh, their jungler's here. 100%.
Yeah, there's no way.
And he's just not, so they doubly win on both sides of the map. Yeah, it's can be confusing at times.
But yeah, right there we just saw, I believe, double... no, Aladoric just popped the cleanse, and it was a flash up there from Mimic. So a lot of focus on both teams just to not get caught right now. And I mean, it makes sense. Baron's up. Like a death here means that it's basically just a Baron force. But
I think Mimic had a timing window because he was like mini Gnar, but he was like freshly born mini Gnar, right? He had zero rage bar. Like
when he was exhausted.
Yeah, right. He just came out of Mega and was like, if I find something, I can make it happen. And then all of a sudden, he's mini Gnar trying to throw boomerangs in melee range. Like, no, guys, let's skedaddle.
Yep.
I don't want a piece of that action whatsoever. So
I feel like Flash is kind of a throwaway for Gnar as well, because like he just has such good access into a fight with Hop into Crunch. So it's not like necessary, right? It's not like I'm Lee Sin and I need this so I can pull my one combo off, right? So it's
definitely helpful, but
obviously,
not necessary.
you'd like it if you have it, but it's not gonna just
Who
end
doesn't?
your world, right? Yeah. I'll just not run Flash.
I'm Yumi.
My name's Yumi. Yeah.
No, the coolest thing about Gnar for me is I want to see, because I'm unsure if I've seen it before. I think I have once, because it like sprung into my mind, and I don't know who the player was, but like getting your own double bounce, I think is super PogChamp. Like not like bouncing off like enemy creeps or whatever, like being able to set that stuff up.
Bouncing off yourself? Or bouncing off a ward or what?
Well, actually, no, it can't be done. I'm just speaking literal Chippy. Hold on.
Okay,
Chippies is bailing out.
Yeah, Chippies. Oh, there's the follow-up there from Wilder. Oh, good save by Aladoric over the wall. Wilder just gets thrown right into the Guardian Angel. Just going to do a bit of zoning by virtue of tossing out the clone there, but yeah, I'm going to say a bit of a win there for AV as Wilder. Next time he goes in, it will be a one-way trip.
GA gone. Still has the stopwatch available, so has invested in 2 stopwatches this game. 3rd or 4th dragon, rather, is going to spawn. Bomber's looking to contest this one, but that engage went heavily in the favor of AV. Chippy's still walking out of base, but may just make it in time.
Setting up on this one. Bombers not full committing to it. Yeah, just a soft attempt at the steal over the wall there from Avant, and Bombers will rotate back towards the mid lane. Tal's going to drop actually here. Mimic into the side lane, has teleport, but honestly, I was going to say low-key favoring Avant Gaming as just random abilities come across. And Bombers, I feel like that is just the star factor here from them. If like a good binding hits onto a key target, then they will just die instantly.
Yeah, right, like it's an Azir like coming over the top. Ryomo was actually sitting in the bush just below mid lane there when AV kind of like forced out Wilder. He flashes away after the GA and then like skedaddle.
Yeah.
He was looking for something. You have to keep your eyes on him for the old bird scoop back into your team, but a ward came down. And I do want to clarify, for whatever reason, I was thinking you could jump off your teammates.
Right.
Can't we? But now
Which you can.
I'm sort of hedging, right? You can?
Off your teammates, yeah.
Yes, right? That's what I'm thinking. You
Yeah.
made me hesitate, and I was like, no, I'm literally the dumbest person alive. Imagine team cohesion, like enough
Yeah.
where you give your Gnar the own, like, double, like, that is your engage. Like, your front line, Jarvan EQ, and then your Gnar, like, double bounces over the top in the scoop back. That is,
Yeah.
like, highlight tier.
I was, yeah,
Old
exactly.
champ.
I was just like bouncing off
legend.
yourself. Hang on a minute.
No,
Yeah.
when you said that, I was like, I don't want to admit that I
instantly
thought
doubt
you could
everything
bounce
you
off
knew
your
about League of
teammates,
Legends.
because,
Yeah.
like, that's stupid. But, no, you can. So, at the end of the day, it's all
Yeah.
fine.
I
But-
swear there was a time where you could bounce off wards as well. I don't think you can do it anymore, but I swear there was.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, like, they have to be visible.
Maybe, yeah. Or it was like control wards or something. I just
Yeah.
have that vision in my mind of a Gnar just
Okay.
jumping on me after a ward.
You are a top laner, so I trust you.
Yeah, I don't. 3 to 8 currently in the game though. 26 minutes in. Double one Infernals over to AV, and it's obviously helping him out right now as we've devolved into a game of dodgeball, essentially. But
Yeah.
with spells.
With lots of balls, they're flying everywhere. Skill shots galore is this one. Mimic still just doing the Gnar thing, pushing in the side lane, of course. We talked about the build earlier. Is going for the side lane threat, has a recurve bow to build into. Maybe like a Wit's End, maybe Winsu's, maybe he goes for the Blade of the Ruin King. Already has the Frozen Mallet to chase people down, so is fairly scary in his own right, but AV are constantly just trying to pressure back and get some vision control around here because they really need to make things happen.
Yeah,
Well,
and
this
it's
man
just like,
becomes a
as
monster.
annoying as this AV comp is right now for Bombers, they can't really push up to a tower just being like, literally just, you know that scene in like The Godfather where just like, he just gets hit by a machine gun? I don't know why I'm bringing that up with you.
I know the
literally
scene.
the worst.
I know the
worst
scene.
guys I could have done that with.
But I haven't actually seen
Yeah.
the movie, so.
Just barrage with bullets. So anybody who walks up, just get wrecked.
You know why I know the scene? Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Home Alone. You know what Home Alone is?
I know what Home Alone is. I
Yeah,
haven't
and he's
watched
like, I'm pretty sure he's mimicking The Godfather. And also,
Ah,
it could
yeah,
just
yeah,
be a
yeah.
different movie, in which case I sound mega silly right now, but
it. He's a hard commit.
yeah, I think that's it.
We'll get the
That's
movie
the
buffs
play.
to come in a second and
Yeah.
correct us.
Somebody will be angry in chat, it's fine.
But basically, Bombers walk up and they get hit by skill shots, is what I'm trying to say. But it's something that will be annoying for another like 5 or 10 minutes or so before Bombers just outscale it and will just run after them.
Yeah, because Bombers right now are just trying to find access to Baron. Oh, hold this,
Find
Ryoma.
access onto Ryoma. Can he pull off the clutch though? Because he's buying time for this teleport. Here comes
Oh.
Mimic and Wilder. And now suddenly Shock and Aladoric completely split off from their team. Rogue is here as well. Chippy joins the fight, but this is not a winning fight for AV right now. Mimic steps forwards. Gunkrab assassinates Ryoma though. Mimic jumps in, pops the ultimate, and Rogue's getting chased out. Wilder goes into the Guardian Angel once again, but Miru pulling off a clutch play in the back, takes down Rogue. Wilder comes back from the dead, but goes back down once more. Lucian for the mid lane, and AV pull off a fight they should not have won.
Yeah, and a fight on two fronts split by an artificial turret. Ryoma looked like he bought enough time, but we'll need a replay to make sense of what actually happened. The AD carries were fighting around the Gromp. Everyone else is fighting at the top lane, and everyone just was dispersed all over the place. AV Pokecom looking to set up the Baron. Mimic and Luch still around, and critically, Ryoma does have TP if he spawns for the next 8 seconds.
Mimic is, yeah, he's building up on Rage, but he's not very close. He does have his ultimate though if he can get it. Baron's very low. Luch,
Goes.
can he get in there? It would just be a kind of a steal attempt, but it's smited down. Here comes the ultimate out from Luch, knocks down Aladoric. In
Ryoma.
comes Ryoma. Jumps forwards, finds two with
Oh!
a divide, but will get assassinated there by Gunkrab once again. Sends it back to the grave, and Rogue and Luch searching for the jungle. But in the end, it is a 1-for-2 trade, and Baron goes down.
Jace hits him with the slam, and they walk away with 2 Baron buffs. So this
Alright.
is the beginning, right? This
2v1.
looks good for the Bombers, but Gnar coming TPing in early. I believe it is Chippies that just looks at the fight, is like, I desperately need to get there now. But this is the other side that we couldn't pay attention to. Rogue has already used his ulti. There it comes, but Gunkrab and Miro on the flank. Luch just very split off, and the top side, everybody's just wailing on everybody in the Cataclysm.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it devolved into this afterwards, but yeah, that extra context of the bomb side, because I was like,
Yeah.
literally, how did Azir die? Because he was like 50% underneath his own tower, and I was like,
Yeah.
perfect, you know, like he's in the perfect front-to-back position, but he literally got stabbed in the back.
Yeah,
by
2
Gunkrab.
people from behind his
Yeah.
own turret. And yeah,
That'll happen.
Birdman goes down. So despite, like, this is one of those weird games where Ryoma has landed, like, 3 really good ult combos. But he's also 1-4 on Azir. And he, like, you look at the scoreboard, it's like, wow, this hasn't been a good game, but he has had the game he would have liked to some degree, right? Like how the game progressed. He was sitting there like laning phase super easy in this matchup into the Corki. Shouldn't have been as successful as he should, but a couple of fights have been won by Bombers, but AV recently hit their spikes now. 3 items on the Varus. Corki's got his rapid fire approaching IE, which is definitely scary territory, and with the Baron taking down turrets is an absolute breeze.
Oh yeah, and AV with that gold influx have just stayed ahead of the curve. Bombers were looking for it, but look how much damage literally all of these skill shots do. That was piercing arrow, half health rogue, quarter of HP away from the shock blast. And AV was getting to the point where the damage is scaling off, but I mean, now that they've managed to get all of this gold, those item spikes, now 2.5 items across the board, taking these towers down so incredibly quickly. And Bombers members are just very squishy, to be honest. It feels like Rome is like, you know, when you start a game and you're just like, I'll play on Insane, it's like, you have very low health, and like, that's fine. And then you go in, you get one hit.
That's not
and
fine.
you're like, okay. And that's just the Bombers' life for like literally everybody who isn't Mimic.
Because Wilder's like gone for the GA build, right? Like it's not like he actually has tank stats. He just revives, so comes back to life there. But it is interesting. AV kind of hit their peak. Corki, late game, actually really good, but Jace, Varus have hit their 3 item marks, right? They can get Last Whispers that you see the Varus is working on right now, but this is the point where scaling really does come into effect from this point onwards. But right now, like, the double Infernal is putting in overtime. They have so much shred with the lethality they picked up. They have the flat damage that they would have wanted. And AV, like, yes, they had the Baron, but are still somehow down in gold. Incredibly close. 500 at 31 minutes is basically negligible. So we have an incredibly even game right now. Baron not yet worn off, but it looks like a hard position for AV to kind of force any further on Bomber's base. They've got what they got and took down a bunch of turrets and now just kind of setting up for the next big play.
But it does not feel like there's a goal difference, right? Because you look at AV, and I mean, if you think about the amount of stats that double Infernal was giving them with another Infernal on the way in about 2 minutes, it's a lot. Especially when you're stacking like high amounts of AD, it's going to be affecting you in a big way here. AV just kind of circling around the bottom lane like vultures. If they can get some poke off, that would be great, but they really need some poke to land to really find their way in. Because everyone has just gone back to base and regens on up.
They have engineered the situation that they want, right? Like, Mimic is just hard grouping. And that's not really the stage you want to be at as this Gnar. And actually, Blade of the Roan King completed, so we see where the Guinsoo's, or the recurve rather, is built into. But as you saw right there, one shock blast onto Luch and his HP just gets halved. Bombers are just kind of paying the price right now. They have to group to not lose their turrets, so no progress being made on their terms, whereas AV are just flinging abilities left, right, and center.
Yeah, and it's just like low risk, high reward here from AV. It's like if a skill shot just happens to land, it's like, well, now Realm is half health and you can't engage. So it's really just having to play just a balancing act here from Bombers. And yeah, we've got a bit of a timer as well. Like both teams aren't super pressured. Because we've got another minute until Dragon, another minute until Baron. Wilder just, he's down to half.
Yeah. There's just no good objectives, right? For the past 2, it's like, okay, Baron is out. We've got 3 minutes on the Dragon, 3 minutes on the Baron, so kind of they look for something, but like they're not really going to commit resources. You would much prefer to hold your flash for the big fight that you know is coming than use it on what could just be like an opportunity that isn't even that great, right? 5 members were stacked there from Bombers, so AV did concede a little bit of pressure in the jungle. You saw, because they'd committed all 5 members to the bottom lane and they were all around that inner turret, they hadn't set up any of their other waves. So they had to leave and then go mid and now push in mid, which did mean that Bombers have vision in their own jungle. AV, like that was their territory 30 seconds ago, but playing one wave kind of does that to you and means the Bombers do have reasonable-ish vision to look to contest this one, as you can see. Giving over triple Infernal seems like a hard decision to make, and they want to make something happen.
Flag drag, knock up onto 2. Follows up with the Cataclysm, burning some spells, mimicking from the side. Doesn't have Nega just yet, as Rose trying to follow up. Meanwhile, shut down onto Chippies, caught out by himself. Miru in lockdown will go into the Guardian Angel of Ryoma. Massive Azir ultimate. That is what he was looking for all game. Triple kill for the Azir. Aladoric going to be falling there as well. 3 kills. Whoa. He made that out.
Yeah, somehow Aladoric lives, but that is the biggest combo I have ever seen. 3 men shuffle into Mimic, preparing the Gnar swipe. Everybody goes into the wall. Wilder starts it off with a huge EQ flash combo, and Bombers,
just
we're talking about the Dragon, like they can't give this over. This could just be the game.
I mean, one member remaining, well, one damage strike. You've got Aladoric with Miro right now. 25 seconds on the death time as teleport coming in. Minion waves here, cannon no less. Aladoric's down. Miro jumps in, also into the meat grinder. Ace comes out there for Mimic, and Bombers in one team fight against AV, poised to win the game. Reverse Uno card. 35 minutes, we'll just take the game.
And Aladoric's face tells the whole story there. Bombers up out of their chairs, super happy with that one. That was a Baron-less victory, right?
Yeah.
Like AV had it, they were pressuring. And then a single team fight, they're able to turn that one around. While the EQ flash onto 2, huge combo followed up by Ryoma and Mimic, and that was the perfect fight that they needed to take that one out.
I mean, how often do you see that, where it's like a team is set up, sieging you at base, and then it's like, oh, the game's over. Yeah, we just lost. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that was just completely unexpected. Because it's had that whole back and forth, AV playing their composition, finally getting the Baron set up to win, and we're like, all right. And then just one fight.
The timing is just funny, because it's like, man, yeah, AV have hit their spikes. Like, 3 items, the lethality is here. Like, it's fine. And then smack bang, just like the Chiefs game, right? Like, this is 2 games back to back where it's been, like, very close. Like, things have been happening, team fights going either way. Team fight, end the game, run it up mid. It's like in Hibs, you saw like Aladoric, Miru, it's a Lee Sin and a Tahm Kench, possibly some of the worst champions to try and defend a Nexus.
Yeah, not the 2 that I would pick personally.
Yeah, and they just kind of walk up and like sacrifice themselves
I mean,
to the
what
gods,
can
please.
you do, you know?
Yeah,
because you have no pressure as you step up, so you just go in, hope for the best, see if you can just kick them away from the Nexus by like 20 seconds for your carries. But yeah, real unfortunate in the end, and yeah, because it felt like that was going to be an AV win for a pretty good portion of that game.
Yeah, right. They were able to like strike back, but it's kind of interesting when you look at the Bombers, like what happened that game. I think I want to say the solo lanes like had very good performances, right? I remember in a hard matchup like in the Corki, his scoreline looked shocking, but like so many good plays, that isn't a scoreboard game of League of Legends. Like that combo with Mimic, he brought a Cull into the Jace, like that was his answer, that fed very well. On the other side, like the bottom lane, like they were just doing their job. You saw Rogue, like every now and again, it's like a cheeky binding here, there, and they were just allowing the game to progress to a point where AV, like, they just walked it up mid, find themselves a fight, that's a victory.
There it is. Just win.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's so easy. League of Legends is
so
easy.
easy. It's such an
Just
easy
win.
game. Anyway, we'll see if the couch thinks the same as we send it over.
It's so easy, right? You just need to turn up and win.
Well, it's pretty hard for me, honestly. I was just having a shocker.
Talk us through your game, because there were some rough patches, but you know, how was it from your perspective?
From my perspective, I think I played a little too fast. Like I feel like if I just taken things slower, like especially on a champ like Azir, like you just play slow and then you're just gonna win the game. But I think I got too hasty on little things and just kept WEQing in, and yeah, it wasn't worth.
And how is it for the Bombers this split? Because obviously riding higher off the end of the last one, and it seems like there is, I mean, it doesn't seem like, it categorically is, more competition for the top spot this split.
Yep. I think we're more learning. Like we're all just still trying to get like to. Well, we're at the point where we know what we're good at, and we're just trying to master that what we're good at, and yeah, we're just trying to just play it as well as we can throughout the split now.
And what is it like coming up against a team like AV, who generally pull out? You know, they love to change up their playstyle a lot. How do you prepare for something like that?
I think we drafted pretty well. I feel like we knew what they were gonna play like pretty much everywhere. Like we kind of expected like them to put Jace like a really high priority. I feel like we read them well, but I didn't read them in game well. But yeah, I think we prepped for them well, and yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to say it's punishment because it's not. But I don't know if you've been watching. Do you know what you need to do now?
Yeah, I do.
You know you need to do 15 push-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it's probably a good thing that you didn't play as well as you possibly could, because otherwise you would be doing many more push-ups. So,
15?
like 15. Well, you don't have to do 15. So here's what I said before. I could probably do 4.
4.
Before we get to the push-ups,
Oh.
I want to ask about FBI and NALFCS.
This one's he's my best friend. I've known him for a while, so we both started our career together. I feel like he deserved it for a long time now. Even before like Split 1 started, I felt like he was a very good AD carry. Like he always like just performed really well, and yeah, I'm just really proud of him. Like he's even right now, I still think he's like playing really well. I think he could be like the best AD in LCS.
And do you feel like he's really missing out on, say, like push-ups here by not being here today?
I feel like he's got the better end of it, but
You don't reckon they're gonna make him do something like this in
no,
America?
I think he's just gonna burst double lift.
Okay.
That's lucky.
Yeah,
That's,
right.
That's better.
All right, well, enough stalling. So you don't need to do 15. I can probably do 3. I'm definitely going to tap out like around the 7 mark. I'll struggle, and I'll start doing them shallow and shallow.
I'll do 2.
You'll do 2 push-ups?
Yeah, 2.
So I'll take on your 13.
Yeah, you take on the rest.
I'm happy to take on the rest. That's fine. Please clear the floor. I can't even pick up this table.
Okay.
It's all in the wrists. That's what I hear. It's 1, 2. Oh no! We just ruined Bombers' the rest of the split. That's a shame. Well, congratulations.
I can't play tomorrow.
Oh no, it's so sore. Oh god, this is a disaster. We should never have done this. Cut to a break.
A bit of duress here.
TPs are coming.
Piercing shot, but
Double.
Bombers, everybody arrives to the party into the shuffle. Gunkrab saved temporarily by Aladoric, but here comes the rest of the Bombers chasing through. Luch, big ultimate comes through, knocks down Gunkrab, chipping them from the top lane, evening up the odds perhaps. Rogue flashes away, Mimic with the retreat here. Already used Gnarls, but here comes Wilder, flag drag, flash as well. Miru survives it, but does not survive the Cataclysm. In comes Mimic, the follow through, locked into the pit. Shock will also fall.
Trying to find access to Baron. Oh, hold this,
Find
Ryoma.
access onto Ryoma. Can he pull off the clutch though? Because he's buying time for this teleport. Here comes Mimic and Wilder. And now suddenly Shock and Aladoric completely split up from their team. Rogue is here as well. Chippies joins the fight, but this is not a winning fight for AV right now. Mimic steps forwards. Gunkrab assassinates Ryoma though. Mimic jumps in, pops the ultimate, and Rogue's getting chased out. Wilder goes into the Guardian Angel once again, but Miru pulling off a clutch play in the back, takes down Rogue. Wilder comes back from the dead, but goes back down once more.
Seems like a hard decision to make, and they want to make something happen.
Flag drag, knock up onto 2. Follows up with the Cataclysm, burning some spells. Mimic in from the side. Doesn't have Mega just yet as Rogue's trying to follow up. Meanwhile, shut down onto Chippies. Caught out by himself. Miru in lockdown will go into the Guardian Angel. Ryoma, massive Azir ultimate. That is what he was looking for all game. Triple kill for the Azir. Aladoric going to be falling. Ace comes out there for Mimic, and Bomb is in one team fight against AV, poised to win the game. Reverse Uno card.
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier, with onions added at the grill for more